To not know something, or if something is unknown, provokes two possible emotions in you: curiosity or fear. Often not knowing is the greatest fear of them all. The ghost of Maules, Loyon, is a tall human or humanoid that dresses in a gas mask that covers his entire face and his head. He also wears a boiler suit or gib suit and always dons a cape or cloak. His boiler suit is covered in a green camouflage cape. His identity is not known since he wears the gas mask over his head all the time. He walks the same path in the woods every day. The Swiss town of Maules has known Loyon with his first sighting in 2003. For 10 years, the town has known about Loyon, the tall figure walking around its woods. With the town terrified of what the man like that can do, they called the police. The police didn't find him. From 2003 till 2013, he would be sighted multiple times, with people talking about their encounters and what happened with them. Marianne Desclos, a local who had experienced Loyon, encountered it as she shared it with a UFO insight. Quotes, "It was a rainy Sunday. He had a cap on, a dark cloak, and a gas mask. What goes on in his head? I don't know. It was unpleasant. I hope I never run into him again." One woman claimed she saw Loyon picking flowers from a distance. Loyon noticed her and fled the area. In all the sightings and encounters, they had one thing in common: the clothes he was wearing and how big this person was. Most said around 6 feet, or 1.9 meters. Most people were in fear when meeting with him, but Loyon has never attacked or hurt anyone he's encountered. One other common thing is, when people do encounter him, they feel threatened or overcome with a sense of dread once they lay eyes on it. With fear being spread throughout the town, people began to go to the police and the city leaders for help. With people in fear of going into the forest because of him, and kids scared, local police searched for him just to question his hostility, but they could never find him. City officials could never do anything because he hasn't technically broken any law or hurt anyone. He's always kept to himself. During this time, there wasn't any real evidence for Loyon, just locals talking about it and people saying they've seen him up until 2013, when a photographer took a photo of him and a publishing website called Le Martin published it. A quote from the photographer: "I came across him near the marches. I approached him to a dozen meters away. He had a military cap, boots, and an army gas mask. An antique type, I think. He measured more than 1.9 meters. He stared at me and then turned his back on me and left in silence. After some time, when Loyon was going all over the internet, someone found Loyon's clothing, his gas mask, along with a note. The note was written in French, but roughly translates to the death certificate and testament of the Phantom of Maules. I'll read it here. Dear nickname Patrick Dumartin, not only are you a moron, but you above all an assassin. You murdered a very harmless being who found in his walk a real therapy of happiness, a cerebral resourcing allowing him to face the responsibilities and the vicissitudes of his normal life. Ghosts cannot explain this happiness, but you do not seem to know Sasser-Masoch. You will discover that it takes everything to make a world. Then you are an assassin of freedoms. To hear you, we find ourselves in the Middle Ages, at a time of witches. Why don't you rise up against the little toads, helmets and hoods, dressed in leather, who backfires on their motorcycle in the same forest, them in violation? Do they take the time to meditate in front of the little oratory, to ask for a better world? I terrorize children? Makes me laugh. Why are they not terrified by the horrors and the crimes, very real these, and they see on television, in the media? Who is in charge of setting the tolerance and freedom button in this company? These beautiful notions benefit more dealers, pimps, burglars, rapists, and hooligans. Switzerland is small. Anything that is not in accordance with the garden gnomes must be eradicated. I thought, during these years, while I was always left alone until you, that these feelings were evolving. You gave me the opposite proof, unfortunately. The phantom disappears. The risk of the beast hunt is too great. It will come back to haunt the narrow minds of your kind, for ultimately, a ghost never dies. To the amiable walker or mushroomer who will discover my tinsel, deliver this letter to Mr. Syndic or Vice Syndic, or even to a journalist, capable, however, of discussing freedom and tolerance. Loyon blames Le Martin for revealing him and forcing his exposure to the world. He blames them for, quote, murdering a very harmless being who found in his walks a real therapy of happiness. He has not been seen since his last encounter. The photo was never authenticated. No one has ever seen his face. We don't know if he moved, hid, or died. All we know is that the humanoid creature in the gimp suit wearing the gas mask never hurt anyone. He never hurt a single soul. He tried to stay out of people's way, but still was hunted. Still feared because of what? The unknown. Because not knowing why something is much scarier than